My name is Ryan Mitchell, and if you'd told me 4 months ago that I'd destroy 2 lives with a single sentence at Christmas dinner, I would have laughed and gone back to reviewing my quarterly sales reports. You know, most men in my position would have thrown their phone across the room that night when they saw the evidence. Smart TV remote, wine glasses, everything. I didn't. I sat there in my home office, blue light from my laptop screen reflecting off my reading glasses, staring at fitness tracker data that painted a picture no husband wants to see. Instead of losing my mind, I opened a new spreadsheet, titled it Project Documentation, and started building the case that would end my marriage forever. Because here's what I learned that night. Revenge isn't about anger, it's about preparation. But before I tell you exactly what happened in that dining room, in our Austin suburb on that warm December evening, let me back up and explain how a straightforward guy like me ended up there in the first place. I'm 38 years old, regional sales director for Apex Medical Solutions. I drive a loaded F-150, live in a master plan community with an HOA that actually keeps property values up, and until recently, I thought I had the American dream locked down tight. Most mornings, my routine looked the same. I'd wake up around 6:30, start the Keurig, and check my phone while the coffee brewed. Our kitchen overlooks the backyard. Swimming pool, outdoor kitchen, that expensive playset Sophia barely uses anymore. On good mornings, I'd hear little feet padding down the hardwood stairs, and my 8-year-old daughter would appear in her unicorn pajamas, hair everywhere, clutching her stuffed elephant. "Morning, Daddy," she'd mumble, climbing onto the kitchen island bar stool. "Morning, Princess," I'd say, sliding her a glass of fresh orange juice. Those quiet moments in our granite and stainless kitchen were the best part of my life, even though I didn't realize how numbered they were. Lauren used to join us back when we first bought the house. She'd sit at the island with her legs tucked under her, hands wrapped around her travel mug, talking about her marketing campaigns or some new restaurant she wanted to try. She had this infectious laugh that could fill the whole open concept space. Over the years, the laugh got rarer, and the complaints got louder. By the time Sophia hit second grade, Lauren had developed this permanent edge in her voice. She'd sigh when I came home, with my tie loosened and sleeves rolled up. She'd roll her eyes when I suggested we stay in and order takeout instead of hitting some trendy downtown spot. She'd scroll through Instagram while I talked about work, making little huffing sounds. "You're so predictable, Ryan," she said one night, not looking up from her phone. "You've got this whole suburban dad thing down to a science." I didn't know ambition and stability were crimes. We had a Ford 200 square foot house, 2 car payments we could actually afford, and a daughter who thought I hung the moon. That seemed like winning to me. Looking back, the first crack showed up on a Sunday afternoon in late August. Sophia had a school project, a digital family tree she was creating on her tablet. We were sitting at the dining table, her art supplies scattered everywhere, when she pulled up a photo she'd taken without me knowing. It showed Lauren and my brother Brad at our kitchen island, heads close together, looking at something on her phone. Sophia had captured it during one of Brad's visit to fix the garbage disposal trips. "Uncle Brad helps Mommy with lots of stuff when you're at work," Sophia said casually, adding the photo to her project. Something cold settled in my chest. Brad is my younger brother by 4 years. He's always been the charming one. Personal trainer at an upscale gym, drives a Mustang he can barely afford. The kind of guy who can talk his way into anything. He's also the kind of guy who's never had a checking account balance above 4 digits for more than a week. Still, I brushed it off. Brad did help around the house sometimes. Lauren always said she didn't want to burden me with repairs on my rare days off. At the time, that sounded considerate. A couple weeks later, I was washing my truck in the driveway when our neighbor, Mrs. Patterson, the retired teacher from 2 houses down, strolled over with her little terrier. "Ryan, I saw your brother's Mustang again last night," she said, adjusting her sun hat. "Does he practically live here now?" She laughed like it was neighborhood gossip. "Last night?" I asked, keeping my voice level. "What time?" "Oh, I don't know exactly. Around 9. I was letting Buster out for his evening walk. All the lights were on downstairs, curtains drawn. Just seems like he's here constantly." She patted my arm. "You're lucky to have such a helpful brother." I smiled, but my jaw was tight. 9 at night. I'd been at a client dinner in Round Rock, trying to close a Q3 deal while my brother's car sat in my driveway. That night, close to 11, I came home from the restaurant. The house was dark except for the glow from the living room TV. Lauren was asleep on the couch, phone in her hand, empty wine glass on the coffee table. I stood there for a moment, listening to the hum of the refrigerator and the soft ticking of our wall clock. Then I did what I'd done almost every night for 8 years. I climbed the stairs to Sophia's room. She was sprawled sideways across her queen bed, hair across her face, clutching her stuffed elephant by one ear. I leaned down, brushed her hair back, and kissed her forehead. "Daddy's home, princess," I whispered. I'd been saying those words since the night we brought her home from the hospital, wrapped in a pink blanket. Through teething, ear infections, thunderstorms, and heat waves, through company layoffs and record quarters, thousands of nights. Back then, I still believed every single one of those nights belonged to me. If I'm honest, I didn't want to see the pattern. Nobody wants to be the guy whose wife is fooling around with his own brother. That's the kind of thing you see on reality TV. Not in a neighborhood where the median home price hits 7 figures. Not with my smart home system and my daughter's honor roll certificates on the refrigerator. But the details kept accumulating. Brad started asking me for money more often, even while Lauren insisted he was finally getting his life together. Text notifications would light up her phone, and whenever I walked into the room, she'd angle it just enough to hide the screen. Not obvious enough to be guilty, just enough to make my stomach twist. One Tuesday morning in early September, I noticed fresh tire tracks in our circular driveway, sporty, narrow treads that didn't match either of our vehicles. Lauren said it must have been a delivery, but there were no packages on the porch. I noticed she was wearing a different shirt than the one she'd put on that morning. I could have confronted her right there. A lot of men would have, but that's never been my approach. In sales, when a deal starts going sideways, you don't start making demands. You gather information, you build leverage. You find the pressure points. I wanted facts, proof, something that would hold up in court. So I swallowed the suspicion, filed away the questions, and told myself I was probably overreacting. I had no idea that all those tiny, ugly details were marching me straight toward that Christmas table, that glass of wine, and the words that would change everything. I didn't sleep much after that September. A man can ignore a lot when he wants to keep his family together, but once doubt settles into your bones, it doesn't leave quietly. It sits there behind your ribs, tapping its fingers, waiting for you to stop pretending everything is normal. By early October, even the air in our house felt different. Thinner, more fragile, like all the windows had been sealed shut. One morning, after a particularly brutal client call, I stopped at Starbucks near my office. While I was adding sugar to my coffee, my colleague Derek, a guy about my age who'd been through his own divorce, looked me straight in the eye and said, "Ryan, you look like you're carrying 100 pounds of bad news." I tried to laugh it off. Long week. He nodded the way a man who's been there knows better than to push. "Just don't let it eat you alive from the inside," he said before heading out to his car. But the rot was already there. I didn't have proof yet, but I had something more dangerous, a hypothesis. And in my line of work, hypotheses need testing. The breakthrough came on a random Thursday night in mid-October while Sophia was getting ready for bed. She was brushing her teeth when she grinned at me in the bathroom mirror and said, "Daddy, look!" She tapped her bottom front tooth with her finger. It wiggled. I stared at the loose tooth like it was a winning lottery ticket. Perfect DNA sample, court-admissible evidence. For the first time in weeks, I felt something close to hope. Not the warm, comfortable kind, but the cold, sharp hope you feel when you're lost in the woods and finally spot a trail marker. Sure enough, 3 nights later, Sophia came running into the living room, holding a tiny white tooth in her palm. It came out. I celebrated with her, took pictures, carefully placed the tooth in a small Ziploc bag, and secured it in my home office safe. For 2 weeks, I checked that safe every morning, just to make sure the tooth was still there. Until the night Lauren decided to do some cleaning. I was in our master shower when I noticed something in my peripheral vision. Through the frosted glass, I could see Lauren's silhouette in the bedroom. She wasn't putting away laundry, she was searching. Her movements were too focused, too deliberate. She went straight to my nightstand, then to my dresser, then finally to the safe. She didn't look surprised when she found the tooth. She didn't gasp or call my name. She just stared at it for one cold second, then walked out of the room with it. I stayed in that shower until the hot water ran out. Hands pressed against the marble walls, letting the reality sink in. She knew I suspected something, and she was actively working to prevent me from learning the truth. After she went to sleep, I searched everywhere: bathroom trash, kitchen garbage, even checked the outdoor bins. Nothing. The tooth had vanished completely. I sat on our kitchen floor at midnight, holding that empty Ziploc bag, and felt something fundamental shift inside me. Not anger, something colder, more permanent. The next morning, I drove to work early. I didn't want to be in the house when she woke up. During my lunch break, I called Derek and asked for the name of his divorce attorney. Angela Rodriguez, he said without hesitation. Toughest family lawyer in Travis County. But Ryan, you sure about this? I need to know the truth, I told him. And if the truth is what I think it is, I need someone who can help me protect Sophia. Within a week, I had a consultation scheduled. Angela's office sat in a glass tower downtown, overlooking Lady Bird Lake. She listened without interrupting, hands folded on her mahogany desk. When I finished, she said, "If you want the truth, we'll get it. But you need to be patient and methodical. If you blow up emotionally, she wins the custody battle." "I'm patient," I said, even though my hands were shaking. "Good, because this is going to take time, and it's going to cost money. But if what you suspect is true, we'll make sure justice is served." Within 2 weeks, Angela had filed for a court-ordered paternity test. Within 3 weeks, the judge approved it. Within a month, Sophia and I walked into a medical testing facility together and provided what they needed. Lauren tried to stop us, showed up halfway through, claiming I was traumatizing our daughter. But the court order was ironclad. 2 weeks later, Angela called me at work. "Ryan," she said, voice steady but kind, "I have the results." My office suddenly felt too small. "Okay. 0% probability of paternity," she said. "Not a match." The floor dropped out from under me. My ears rang, my vision blurred, but I forced myself to stay upright. "Thank you," I managed to say. I sat in my truck in the parking garage for 20 minutes, forehead pressed against the steering wheel, letting the cold from the concrete seep into my bones. 8 years of fatherhood, 8 years of bedtime stories, 8 years of daddy's home princess. And none of it was mine by blood. But every single minute of it was mine by choice. I wiped my face, sat up straight, and said out loud, "Okay, now I know." And in that moment, one quiet moment in a Ford F-150, parked beneath fluorescent lights in downtown Austin, I made a decision. If Lauren had spent years hiding the truth from me, then I would spend the next few weeks preparing the truth for her. Not with shouting, not with threats, not with drama, with documentation, with legal precision, with the kind of systematic approach that had made me successful in sales. And Christmas was coming fast. Once the shock crystallized into something harder, something more focused, I knew exactly what my next moves needed to be. And none of them involved emotional outbursts or dramatic confrontations. People expect anger. They prepare for it. They know how to defend against yelling. But methodical preparation, strategic silence, that terrifies the guilty. And I had decided to weaponize both. The morning after I got the DNA results, I made coffee as usual, set Lauren's travel mug on the counter, kissed Sophia goodbye, drove to work. Everything looked normal from the outside. Inside, I was executing a plan. My first stop was Frostbank downtown. Same institution where I'd opened my first checking account out of college. The relationship manager, Patricia, had handled our mortgage and investment accounts for 5 years. "Ryan Mitchell," she said warmly. "What brings you in today?" "Need to restructure some accounts," I told her, maintaining my professional smile. In 30 minutes, I had separated my salary deposits from our joint account and created a new personal account. I transferred every dollar I legally could. Performance bonuses, expense reimbursements, my entire 401k contribution match. Patricia reviewed the paperwork with a slight frown. "Everything okay at home?" she asked quietly. "Just being proactive," I answered, because that's exactly what this was, the proactive phase. Protection without warning, preparation without drama. Next, I called my benefits. Coordinator at work. We had a brief conversation, and when I hung up, Lauren was no longer the beneficiary on my life insurance policy. The coordinator asked who I wanted to list instead. "Sophia Mitchell," I said. There was a pause on the line. "That's your daughter?" "That's my daughter." The policy was worth $500,000. Not a fortune, but enough to secure Sophia's future regardless of what happened next. I didn't tell Lauren about any of this. She didn't notice the missing bank statements or the changes in our mail. People who spend years maintaining elaborate lies don't pay attention to the details of the man they assume is too trusting to investigate anything. In those weeks leading up to Christmas, Lauren seemed nervous. She'd hover around me like she wanted to confess something, but kept swallowing the words. She'd laugh too loudly at nothing, check her phone too frequently, roll over to face the wall as soon as the bedroom lights went out. She could sense something shifting. She just couldn't identify what. One evening in early December, she cornered me in our walk-in closet. "You've been distant lately," she said. "Just busy with year-end numbers," I replied. "Is something wrong between us?" "Should there be?" The question hung in the air like smoke. She didn't follow me when I walked away. A few days later, I sat in Angela's office again. Her windows overlooked the Austin skyline, cranes in construction, a city growing faster than its infrastructure, progress and chaos simultaneously. "Ready for the next phase?" she asked. More ready than I thought I'd be. She handed me a thick folder. Inside were financial records we'd quietly subpoenaed, withdrawals Lauren had made without telling me, transfers to Brad disguised as personal training fees and car maintenance. The amounts weren't huge individually, but they painted a clear picture of systematic deception. With the DNA results attached, it became a story even the most lenient judge couldn't ignore. Angela tapped the documents. "We'll file the divorce petition after Christmas. Do you want to serve her before the holiday or after?" "After," I said. "Definitely after." "You sure about that timing?" I smiled. A small one, the kind you make when you know the endgame is already scripted. There's something she needs to do first. She needs to tell the truth voluntarily. Because here's what I had realized. Liars always want to control the narrative. They want to stage their confession, frame themselves as the victim, maintain some measure of sympathy. Lauren needed an audience for her performance, which meant I needed one too. That's when the idea of Christmas dinner crystallized. Every year we hosted, long dining table, coordinating place settings, honey-glazed ham from Central Market. Lauren's parents, my parents, a few neighbors, some colleagues who didn't have local family. Brad, of course, drinking too much, and holding court. Noise, warm lighting, a house full of witnesses. The perfect stage, the perfect moment. So I planned the guest list carefully. My folks, her folks, the Hendersons from next door, a couple from church, even my assistant who was spending Christmas alone this year, and naturally Brad. Lauren's eyes lit up when she saw the invitation list. "This is perfect," she said, squeezing my arm. "This will be so good for us." I nodded. "It will be." She didn't hear the flatness in my voice. She didn't notice how I stepped away from her touch. She didn't see that the man in front of her wasn't confused anymore. He was waiting. 3 days before Christmas, Brad came by to help prep dinner. I was in the garage organizing tools when he leaned against the workbench, smelling like stale beer and the cologne he used to cover it. "Lauren said you've been quiet lately," he said. "Been busy," I answered. "She said you're acting different. Everything cool between you two?" I kept sorting screws into containers. "Things get complicated sometimes." He shifted uncomfortably. "Look, man, you know family's family, right? No matter what happens." I stared at the socket wrench in my hand. Family's family. He had no idea how true or how false that statement would prove to be. "Sure," I said. "Family's complicated." He left after that, and I stood there in the cold garage, feeling no rage, no heat, just clarity, like standing in fresh snow under a quiet sky. Christmas morning arrived with that crisp hill country air that makes December in Austin feel almost seasonal. I stood in our kitchen before dawn, looking out at the pool lights reflecting off the water, steam rising from the hot tub. The coffee maker gurgled behind me. Somewhere upstairs, I heard Sophia's feet hitting the hardwood as she went to check what Santa had brought. Her little gasp of delight, pure, innocent, untouched by any of the toxicity swirling around the adults in her life, hit me square in the chest. For a moment, I almost forgot everything. Almost. But then I heard Lauren's voice echoing down the hallway as she talked to someone on her phone, and the spell broke. By mid-afternoon, the house was packed. Coats hanging in the foyer, cars lining our cul-de-sac, the air filled with the smell of ham, sage stuffing, and Lauren's signature pumpkin bread. My dad brought his famous mac and cheese. Lauren's parents arrived with wine and stories about their cruise. Brad showed up last, carrying grocery store flowers and acting like the prodigal son returning home. I watched him hug Lauren. Too long, too familiar, too comfortable. I felt nothing but cold satisfaction. Dinner started normally. Sophia giggling over the cranberry sauce, my dad complaining about the Cowboys, the Henderson couple sharing gossip about the new neighbors. Everything traditional, everything expected. Until Lauren stood up slowly, wine glass in hand, looking like she was about to deliver a wedding toast. She sniffed dramatically, placing a trembling hand over her heart. There's something I need to share with everyone tonight. Here it comes. She took a deep, shaky breath, scanning the table for maximum impact. I want to be completely honest with all of you, especially with Ryan. She glanced at me through carefully timed tears, trying to look fragile and brave simultaneously. Across the table, Brad swallowed hard and stared at his plate. I've been carrying a terrible secret for years, Lauren continued, voice quivering with rehearsed emotion. Something that's been destroying me inside, and tonight I need to say it out loud. The entire table went silent, forks paused midway to mouths. Even the background Christmas music seemed to fade. Meanwhile, I carved the ham slowly, deliberately, letting the knife scrape across the bone with a harsh metallic sound that made half the guests wince. Scrape, scrape, scrape. Lauren blinked at me, startled by the noise, but taking it as permission to continue. 8 years ago, I made a terrible mistake. She pressed her hand to her chest. An unforgivable mistake that I've regretted every single day since. She paused for dramatic effect, soaking in the attention. Ryan, she whispered, I'm so sorry, but Sophia isn't... Her voice broke exactly on cue. She isn't your biological daughter. My mother gasped. Lauren's mother covered her mouth with her napkin. Brad looked like he wanted to crawl under the table. Lauren continued, louder now, fully committed to her performance. Sophia is Brad's daughter. I know this is horrible timing, but I couldn't live with the lie anymore. I needed to be honest, especially during Christmas, because that's what this season is about. Truth and forgiveness and 4 full minutes. 4 minutes of tears, of excuses, of carefully crafted words designed to make her look weak and tormented instead of selfish and calculating. I didn't interrupt. I just kept carving the ham, slowly and methodically. Scrape, scrape, scrape. That metallic sound was the only thing that finally made her stop talking. She stood there, chest heaving, expecting me to explode, or storm out, or break down crying, waiting for the meltdown she thought she'd earned, because even public guilt is easier to handle than strategic silence. When she finally stopped performing, the dining room hung cold and still. I set the carving knife down, wiped my hands on the linen napkin, and stood up. Well, I said calmly, since we're sharing truths tonight. I reached under my chair and pulled out the folder Angela had prepared. First, I slid the certified DNA report across the table. It landed directly in front of Brad. He stared at it like it might explode. Next, I placed the financial records beside it. Every unexplained withdrawal, every payment she'd made to support Brad's lifestyle, every little siphon from the life we'd built together. Then I set down the preliminary divorce filing, quiet as snowfall on the mahogany table. Several people gasped. Lauren stammered, "Wait, Ryan, we should talk about this privately." I cut her off, not loudly, not angrily, just with absolute finality. "I've known for weeks," I said, "and I gave you every opportunity to come clean on your own terms." Her face drained of color like someone had pulled a plug. Then I turned to Brad. He looked like he wanted to disappear entirely. I leaned forward, calm as winter ice. "Congratulations, brother," I said. "Looks like you just inherited an 8-year-old daughter and 18 years of child support payments you can't afford." The room went dead silent. Then came the second explosion, unexpected and brutal. Lauren's father stood up so suddenly his chair nearly toppled. A retired Air Force colonel, his anger didn't make noise. It cut through the room like a precision strike. He reached for Lauren's left hand. She recoiled. "Dad, what are you doing?" He grabbed her wrist, slipped off her wedding ring, the ring I'd saved 3 months' salary to buy 9 years ago, and handed it to me. "She doesn't deserve to wear this," he said, voice shaking with disappointment more than rage. "And she never deserved you." Then he turned to me. This man who'd barely acknowledged me at our wedding, who'd never once called me son, extended his hand. And for the first time in 9 years, we shook hands like two men who finally understood each other completely. Lauren collapsed back into her chair, sobbing real tears now. Brad stared at the floor, paralyzed. I didn't give either of them another glance. I started toward the hallway, and that's when it happened. The moment that shattered half the hearts at that table and rebuilt mine. Barefoot, wearing red Christmas pajamas, hair wild from playing upstairs, Sophia burst through the dining room doorway crying. "Daddy, don't leave me," she sobbed. I turned around, knelt down, and lifted her into my arms. She wrapped her legs around my waist like she was afraid I'd vanish forever. I looked back at Lauren one final time. "I'm not leaving her," I said. "She's coming with me." And with that single sentence, the world she'd built on deception collapsed entirely. I carried Sophia through the front door of my parents' house that night, her arms locked around my neck, her face buried against my shoulder. The Austin air was crisp and clean, nothing like the suffocating atmosphere we'd just escaped. My mom rushed forward, tears in her eyes. "Oh, sweetheart, are you both okay?" Sophia didn't answer. She just held me tighter, and I held her closer. My dad stepped beside us, placed a steady hand on my shoulder, and said in that gravel voice of his, "You did the right thing, son." For the first time in months, I let myself breathe deeply. The legal proceedings moved swiftly after that. Angela filed the formal petition between Christmas and New Year's. The judge scheduled an emergency hearing for the second week of January, after the holiday court closure. We walked into the Travis County Courthouse on a cold Wednesday morning, me in my best suit, Sophia holding my hand, Angela sharp and confident beside us. Lauren arrived late, wearing sunglasses indoors and looking like she hadn't slept in days. Brad wasn't with her. His absence spoke louder than any testimony could. When the judge read the DNA results aloud, Lauren stared at her hands. When the financial records were presented, she pressed her fingertips to her temples. When Angela spoke about stability, consistency, and the 8 years of devoted care I'd provided Sophia, Lauren cried quietly. No theatrics this time. Then came the moment I'll remember forever. The judge leaned forward, reading glasses perched on his nose, and said to Lauren, "Parenthood transcends biology, ma'am, and you failed at the part that actually matters." He turned to me. "Mr. Mitchell, temporary full custody granted. We'll revisit permanent arrangements after the divorce is finalized." Sophia squeezed my hand so tightly I thought she might break my fingers. On the way out, Lauren tried to approach her, whispering, "Sweetie, come give Mommy a hug." But Sophia stepped behind me, pressing her face against my leg. She didn't say a word. She didn't need to. We moved into a smaller house across town while everything processed. A rental in a good school district, with a backyard just big enough for Sophia's trampoline. The mortgage payment was a third of what we'd been spending, but it was ours. The first night in our new place, Sophia stood in the empty living room and asked in a tiny, hopeful voice, "Daddy, can we still put up a Christmas tree?" I laughed through my exhaustion. "Princess Christmas was last week." She tugged on my sleeve. "Can we get one anyway? Just a small one?" So, we drove to Home Depot. Everything was marked down, picked over, branches missing needles. But in the clearance section, sitting crooked on a display, was a small 6-foot tree with a dented tag. $25. I loaded it into the truck, and she helped me set it up in our new living room. We didn't have our old ornaments, so she made new ones from construction paper and glitter glue, hanging each one with careful concentration. When we finished, she stepped back, smiling for the first time since Christmas dinner, and said, "It's smaller than our old one, but it feels bigger, Daddy." I had to walk into the kitchen so she wouldn't see me wipe my eyes. Now, if you're still listening, I want to leave you with this. Some men spend their whole lives searching for family. I had mine for 8 years, lost her for one terrible night, and got her back with 4 words at a dinner table. Turns out love doesn't always use bloodlines, too. Redditstories. Sometimes it uses heartbreak, legal documents, and a little girl who still calls me daddy. Thanks for listening. I'll keep the light on.